wisdom seeker, I am happy to share another nugget with you, one that goes along what we spoke in the previous video, where I encouraged you to look at finding some nugget for you to start valuing yourself. And today I'm going to give you a few stepping stones in order to do this. The question is, how can I recognize my intrinsic value when I don't know what it is? I had a client recently, and this was his number one question. I don't know who I am. And every time when he said that, all he heard was his father bellowing at him how useless he was, how he was going to end up at nothing, and what. So he couldn't recognize his intrinsic value. So I'm pleased to say that today this man he's really jumping with joy and knowing who he is, and he's living up to his authentic self, doing things that he never thought he could do before. As I said in the previous video, he just showed up. As the black sheep who pointed out that there was a family dynamic that was out of balance. And it had nothing to do with him. So once he realized, wow, what my father says is my father's perspective. But I was so downed by my father's perspective that I couldn't even see myself. And this from a pro golf player who couldn't even see his own value as a pro golf player. Do you know how much work it takes to become a pro golf player? Yeah. And he couldn't even see his value in that. So it doesn't matter where you are in your life. It doesn't matter how many successes you've had in your life. If you do not see your value, it makes it very difficult, doesn't it? So I want to give you some ideas on recognizing your intrinsic value, especially when you're unsure of what it is. It can be a gradual process, but just be patient and just do it one tiny step at a time. I always say to my clients, one tiny step. And they say, but Sonia, one tiny step. Don't go running if you can't walk. So let's go crawling first. Then we stand up. And then we start taking our first steps. So today I want you to take some notepad. And I want you to reflect on your strengths. I often have clients who say, I don't have any strengths. Wow. Where do I start? If you don't see your strengths, you will never be able to speak about your strengths because you can't even verbalize them. You can't even think them. So I want you to take the time to identify your skills, your talents, and your qualities. Okay. I have a client who says, Sonia, I don't even know where to start. What are my skills? Okay. Do you have a job? Yeah. Okay. What do you do in that job? I just do X, Y, Z. Well, write down what you do. Whatever you do is a skill. All of us are inclined to take our skills, our talents, and qualities for granted. And if I take my skills and talents and qualities for granted, how can I put value to them? So I want you to put value to them. So I want you to look at, what am I good at? Do you know what? I don't drink tea. I'm a coffee drinker. Bad, I know, I'm a coffee drinker. But when my daughter offers me a cup of tea in her house, I drink that cup of tea and I enjoy it. She is a really good tea maker. I love her tea. And I'm bringing this in as an example because we don't value the small things we do well. We take them for granted. So don't take yourself for granted. That's a good place to start, isn't it? The next question is, what do you enjoy doing? What is it that you enjoy doing? If you enjoy reading, well, then you're a good reader, isn't it? Probably when you enjoy reading, you are also a good writer. Probably if you do that, you're also a good communicator, even if nobody hears you. So whatever you enjoy doing, like my pro golfer, he enjoyed playing golf because that was the space he could get away from his father's words. And even if you won a tournament, his father said you could have done better. Yeah. He got away from his father's words by playing golf, and he really upskilled. But because he was taking his skill for granted, he couldn't see his value. Because whenever he had a value, somebody else told him, you should have done better. No. I want you to identify your skills, your talents, and your qualities. I am kind is a quality. I hear when people speak, it's a quality. I'm a really good whatever comes after that. So write it down and recognize that these attributes contribute to your value. Okay, so that's the first exercise I want you to do. The next one is a little bit more difficult. Consider your impact. Think about the times when you positively affected others, whether through support, kindness, or sharing your knowledge. Again, I know that you're doing it. You just don't give yourself value for doing it. So please, think about when a friend came to you and cried on your shoulder and you said whatever you said to comfort that friend, because a part of you was touched and you touched a part of another one. Consider your impact when you stroke your dog or your cat. Consider your impact when you take your dog for a walk. May not make an impact to the world out there. They don't care. But your dog cares. And you care. And your love for your dog matters. So that's where I want you to start, small. Reflect on these moments so that you can see how you contribute to the world around you. Really important. The next step, embrace your uniqueness. Oh my word, each of us is a complete unique individual on this planet Earth. With all the millions of people on this planet Earth, there is not another you. I always say to my clients, there's a method in my madness, which makes me unique. whatever your uniqueness is. Everyone has a unique perspective shaped by their experiences, values, and personality. Embrace what makes you different, as this uniqueness adds to your intrinsic value. Here is the key. They say birds of a feather flock together. So in certain groupings of people, if you do not do what the group does, or what the group says you have to do, you're not welcome in that group. You're not allowed to be unique. Think about that. But it's because you are unique. You think differently. You have different perspectives. Whatever you then give may not be right for this tribe, but it may be better suited in another tribe. I was at one stage dealing a lot with children who had ADHD. And one of the first things I would say to the parents is, your child has special qualities. Focus on those qualities that your child brings to the table, as weird and wonderful as they may be. Focus on the child's uniqueness. And let's look at the strengths that this child brings into the family. Let's listen to the child. Let's hear the child. So I want you to embrace your uniqueness. My experiences that I've had through my life, and they haven't been easy, have made me into the person I am today. Many people had similar experiences, but nobody had them in the sequence that I had. So that makes me unique. My family thinks I'm loony bins. Maybe I am. So what? To them, I may be, because my thinking is not along certain lines. I want you to embrace your uniqueness and see what value that brings to the world in which you live. Seek feedback. If you have friends, ask them for help. Ask them, what is it they appreciate about you? What is it they see in you that you maybe not see in you? I have a friend, I love her to bits. Every time we meet, she says, Sonia, thank you for being in my life. She doesn't have to tell me why. Thank you for being in my life. So on some level, I have value in her life, which is why we probably are friends. No, we don't see each other every day. We don't phone each other every day. But when we spend time together, we really, really value the exchange in our time. Ask trusted friends, family, and colleagues what they appreciate about you. Their insights might highlight strengths you hadn't recognized. So often, we're inclined to give feedback to people that is, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing that. That's not where we want to listen. We want to hear what it is that is our value. Try and find somebody who can give you some of that feedback. This next step is very, very, very difficult for some people. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Acknowledge that everyone has struggles and imperfections. And practicing self-compassion can help you appreciate yourself more fully. What does self-compassion mean? Kindness. How am I kind to myself? For many years, I suffered from severe depression. If it were not for the fact that I had to get up and take my children to school in the morning, I would not have left the bed. And I started with small steps. I started with understanding that when I went back home, I would go back into bed, and that wouldn't be kind to me or my family. So that meant when I took my children to school, I had to get dressed in a way that I could be seen in public. That meant I had to be kind enough to brush my teeth. I had to be kind enough to brush my hair. I had to be kind enough to myself to get dressed properly. So I valued myself enough still to do that. And that was my saving grace. And then I went into a shopping mall and bought myself a cup of coffee so that I could be in an environment where there was hustle and bustle around me, where there was life and energy around me. And that was the biggest act of kindness I gave myself into the next step of healing. Acknowledge that everyone has struggles and imperfections. I had no idea about the people and their struggles. But I knew that I needed to practice self-kindness and self-compassion. Practicing self-compassion can help you appreciate yourself more fully. And with these daily acts of getting myself dressed, getting myself ready, eventually I could get home and I could wash the dishes and I could cook the meals for my children with very, very little energy. But when I look back on that time, I appreciate that woman with a lot of compassion. And I want you to do the same for yourself. Engage in self-discovery. Explore your passions, your interests and values through journaling, meditation, or engaging in new experiences. You may not feel you have a passion. I was talking about my golfer client. He did not even understand that he had a passion for golf. It was his escape. Interesting. So we explored new passions for him. And he came up with, I always wanted, I always wanted, I always wanted. But he never, ever followed through on them because he says, even if I think it, it immediately shuts down. His interests and values, he did not recognize. So through the work that we engaged with each other, it came to light again. Golf is not his passion. It's just what he's good at. So now he can explore new interests and values. He doesn't have to give up his golf. It's just he can be more and explore more of who he is and live his life with more value. Set your personal goals. I hate goal setting because it is like, how can I ever get there? It's too big. So I want you to establish small and achievable goals that align with your interests and values. So I spoke to you about the time when I was in the deep depression. And what was the one achievable goal that I could do? I would not have been able to do it if my value as a mother for my children was not as high as it was. I value my family. That was my number one value. And that is that value that I could do the small step to get me out of the house in the morning so that I could get my day started. So I want you to accomplish something that can boost your confidence and reinforce your sense of value. Told you then I could go home and I could wash the dishes. I could keep the house clean. And I could do small things that enhanced my value. Nobody needed to see it. I felt accomplished that I could do it. My family didn't even know how deep my depression was. They never knew. Because it wasn't a cover-up. It was I needed to get through this. And the biggest thing we have to do is limit negative self-talk. Challenge your negative thoughts about yourself. I'm not good enough. Says who? Start looking at, even though I am not good enough, I have value and name a strength. Recognize when you are being overly critical and replace those thoughts with affirming statements about your worth and contributions. You're not good enough. You can't do. You will fail whatever you do. What if I am enough? What if I could succeed? I wonder what then? And celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. This practice enforces a sense of accomplishment and value. When we do not pay attention to our small wins, we devalue ourselves. We don't need somebody else to devalue us. So the question is, how do I celebrate small wins? Some people say, yeah, Sonia, I had a glass of wine. That's not what I'm talking about. Celebrate small wins by just saying, this was a good moment. Thank you. Thank yourself for everything that you can accomplish. The practice of celebrating achievements reinforces a sense of accomplishment and value. So I need you to start doing that. So with my golfer client, I said to him, I want you to go onto the golf course the next time, and I want you just to say to yourself, good shot, well done. And he says, why? I says, let's see what happens when you do. And he came back and he said, I enjoyed my round of golf a lot more. My ball just went a bit further than I thought it could go. My game has just become more meaningful to me. So it's about thanking yourself for being able to achieve small wins. And then, yes, there is seeking professional support. We're here to help you if and when you need us. And yes, I work a lot with family constellations because I like to find where is the root cause that caused this destruction in yourself. And we can look at the root cause and heal from that. If there's anything in this little exercise, please like it, subscribe, be ready for the next part. There's more value that's going to come your way. I'm going to share everything that I can. My sharing is looking for the wisdom that is in each and every one of us. It's not my wisdom. Yes, it's universal wisdom, but universal wisdom is in you. I want you to understand that. Click and subscribe, and let's continue this journey. Recognize your intrinsic value in this journey. Be patient with yourself as you explore and uncover what makes you uniquely valuable. Have an awesome day. There's lots for you to do. Take your time in doing it, but come back when you are ready. See you soon.